with the 2021 municipal elections set to take place on the 1st of November this year, political parties are gearing up on the ground with their manifestos. This morning, we bring you a Make Me Your Mayor debate. It's between two Johannesburg mayoral candidates, Democratic Alliance's Dr. Mpho Phalatse and ActionSA's Herman Mashaba. The two leaders join us now live in our studio this morning. Thank you very much to the both of you for coming in. So, former colleagues, Dr. Phalatse, you worked under the former mayor of Johannesburg, Herman Mashaba, as an MMC. Do you think you can do a better job than he did as mayor?
I definitely think I can do a better job than what he did. I've had the benefits of 5 years in council. When Mr. Mashaba came in as a mayor, he was new to the council environment. I believe that there's a lot I've learned in the 5 years. I've had time to study the system. I've had time to look at what is wrong and what can be done better. Mr. Mashaba came in from a business environment and was thrown into the deep end. So I believe that I've got that advantage of experience. I worked as an MMC, as you know, for 3 years. 3 of those 5 years. I've been in opposition as well for 2 years. So I also have opposition politics experience, which Mr. Mashaba doesn't have. I believe that I have a good mix of skills. That over and above the fact that I have been in public service for 15 years. So I've got 15 years experience of being a technocrat, working in government. I've worked with politicians. I've worked in an advisory role, working with politicians as well, as a public health person. So I bring all of that into the city, and I believe I'm ready. Yes, I do believe that I'm ahead.
What exactly didn't Herman Mashaba do that you could do better for the people of Johannesburg?
Well, I was an MMC under Mr. Mashaba, and there's a lot that I would have liked to see happening at the time. I mean, from a leadership point of view, for starters, we were a cabinet of 10 MMCs, and I remember I was practically begging Mr. Mashaba for cabinet meetings, for starters. We never had cabinet meetings. I think maybe we had 2, 3, you know, in the 3 years. It's something that Mr. Mashaba was not really interested in. He didn't see it as important. However, it was important because it's in a platform such as that one that you pull everything together, make sure the center is holding. So effectively we were 10 MMCs, each one doing their own thing, without really an opportunity to sit around the table with the mayor, look at where we're going, where we need to collaborate, where we need to work transversely, and have those important conversations. That's the first thing. I wish that there was more of that oversight from Mr. Mashaba, looking at what MMCs were doing. As an MMC, I had challenges where I needed other MMCs to come to the table to help me achieve what I needed to achieve. And there was just no platform, you know, to facilitate that kind of engagement. That's for me the first thing. The second thing, of course, politically, we were compromised. We had a voting arrangement with the EFF that I disagreed with how Mr. Mashaba approached that relationship. I even wrote him an email once where I think we were opening a clinic, and Mr. Mashaba had said, you know, the EFF must always speak at these events. And I said, but what about our legitimate coalition partners? They don't even have that privilege, and we're giving it to the EFF. They're not even our legitimate partner. There was discontentment all around in the caucus. Even with our legitimate coalition partners, they did feel like we're pandering too much to the EFF. I do feel like they had too much control over our budgeting processes and just key decision-making processes, and that created then a rift between Mr. Mashaba and the caucus and our other coalition partners as well. Those are, for me, the main things. You know, leadership, making sure the center is holding. I feel like the center was not holding. The reason why a lot of governments fail is because a lot of work has to happen interdepartmentally. So, for instance, I'll give you an example. If I want to deal with substance abuse in the city of Johannesburg, I have to look at the 3 pillars. If you know, the National Drug Master Plan talks about supply reduction, demand reduction, and harm reduction. I'm only responsible for harm reduction. I need departments like JMPD to drive supply reduction. I need departments like community development to drive demand reduction. And it's
let's give Mr. Mashaba a chance to respond. Dr. Phalatse, describing you basically as a leader who wasn't really there for his followers, as somebody who didn't want to take place in meetings and who was weak before the EFF.
Well, it's actually quite unfortunate that Dr. Phalatse can have such a short memory. I mean, the 3 years that I was the mayor of the city of Johannesburg, there's not a single month where we did not really have our mayoral committee where they had to really present their reports. There's not a single month where we did not have caucus meetings, so I'm not sure why all of a sudden she's forgotten about all this. Over and above mayoral committee meetings, over and above caucus with the arrogant DA, I had to, at the same time, take the responsibility to negotiate with 7 other political parties, which the DA never took for seriously. They thought and felt that they're not important with a DA government, arrogant DA government. And I think Dr. Phalatse did a good job, but I think I just want to remind her that Dr. Phalatse, the successes that you are claiming to have achieved, I can imagine how would she have achieved those successes without the 30 EFF votes, because we needed those votes for us to really be able to pass any report that goes to Parliament, to Council, because unfortunately municipal government is a highly regulated environment. You as a mayor or us as executive, we come out with political decisions, and they must be passed through council. And when you pass through council, you need all the political parties. We know from day one that the ANC was determined to destroy and collapse our government. It's on record. Now, the arrogant DA did not want to show any respect, and they wanted me to be part of their nonsense. And I said, I'm here. You guys decided on this coalition arrangement. I'm not the one. I wasn't part of the negotiation. The effect even lacked the decency of in letting me know that the EFF did not want me. You remember the EFF having the press conference in Alexander. I had it through the media that there was a trouble, and DA was going to have a press conference in 2 hours.
Just very quickly, we need to go to my colleague Nkosazana Dambuza to show you guys something, and I'm going to give Dr. Phalatse a platform to respond to what you've said about the arrogant DA in your words. But as MMC, as her boss at the time, very quickly, what did you think of Dr. Phalatse?
Oh, Dr. Phalatse did fantastic work, I mean, under my political direction. Unfortunately, as a mayor of a far-right organization, I don't know whether she's gonna get the support to service poor communities, because the DA is not interested in poor communities. The biggest problem I had with the DA is that they're not interested in poor communities. So I'm not sure how she's going to really get that support. She knows very well. The reason why I insisted on having EFF to speak at some of the events, because we needed their support. They were there to support us in council. But obviously, the DA's arrogance. Dr. Phalatse, if you're going to use that arrogance in a coalition arrangement, your government will have problems, because I know the DA is not going to allow you to do that, because they have this narrative that where DA governs, they govern well, they've got clean audits. Please go to Cape Town, go and look at the poor communities. They're worse than the way pre-1994. So, unfortunately, the arrogance is what's going to create problems. Where to an extent that they were prepared to work with the ANC